to know the broadcasting from financial institution, instruments, and market? VNTV News start right now. Hello, it's 7 a.m. local time in Da Nang, and you are watching Victory News. On Tuesday, the State Bank of Vietnam requested commercial bank to implement credit solution creating conditions for the loan needs of key petroleum businesses. Accordingly, banks proactively balance capital sources to meet the needs of businesses according to the list published on the website of the Ministry of Industry and Trade. This will serve the purchase of domestic gasoline and the import of petroleum as essentials to ensure their supply of petroleum for the domestic market and strictly handle violations causing delays in credit work. On a monthly basis, report on the situation, a credit granting to petroleum trading and import enterprises must be submitted to the State Bank. As instability of the financials and banking sector to stock market, Vietnam is responding to global economic shocks to maintain financial and monetary market stability. As such, these attempts have received international media attention for the following story.
As conflicting information about corporate bonds troubles many investors, the enactment of Decree 65 demonstrates the government's efforts to ensure the transparency of the financial market. The decree provides a clear legal framework to protect investors and create a safer business environment in the future. Regarding the impact of Decree 65, Lexology, one of the world's leading providers of online legal information, said that Decree 65 is expected to help authorities manage, regulate, and supervise issuers, and protect investors. Similar to Lexology, financial analysis magazine, The Asset, released an article titled Vietnam Tightens Bond Rules to Boost Transparency. As the article reviews, new regulations to boost transparency in bond issuance, requiring businesses to clearly state the purpose of such issuance in their announced plans. The amendment also aims to define the responsibilities and obligations of the issuers, especially regarding the use of proceeds from the bond.
To know more about the situation of some financial instruments today, let's contact Ms. Phương Ngữ, an expert in the securities field. Hi Phương Ngữ, are you ready to share with others about the situation at the present?
Yeah, definitely yes. Thank you for having me. Well, we did know in recent years, the corporate bond markets have emerged with a number of potential problems, arising many mistakes. According to the research, VDSC believe that the ability to reverse the debts of these enterprises is quite low because investors holding mainly individuals are very limited due to the affected confidence as well as the stricter regulation of the bank. Decree 65 in 20 and 22 and due to limitation in accessing loans from banks. At the same time, cash flow from sales activities is facing many difficulties in the context of rising interest rates and tight credit. Therefore, the analysis team recognized some notable risks of bad debt and increased interest rates of the markets from the possibility of maturity of corporate bonds of real estate companies in the near future. Therefore, investing in bonds at present is extremely risky for investor and individual investor because the business is at risk of bankruptcies. Well, in terms of stock, more than 130 stock symbol on holds go down. On 7th November 2022, VN Index lost nearly 22 points to 975 points. The number of stocks that fell to the limit Dow recorded 136 out of nearly 400 losers. On the HAT index and Upcom index both lost nearly 3%. The common spot is that it is recommended that investors should limit surfing transactions because the risk is higher than the return. It is the time for partial disbursements of the value score. Especially, investors absolutely do not use margin as this date to avoid additional pressures. Well, in the medium and long term, the stock market is still affected by the increasing interest rates and exchange rate. This pressure will continue as long as the waves of Fed rate hikes has not stopped. Okay.
Wow, it's helpful information. It looks like an unstable bond and stock market, right? And what is the bank interest rate? What happens with it? So now, contact Ms. Tan Chan, an expert in the bank field. Hi, Tanjan. Can you tell me a little about the bank interest rate situation?
Hello. Now we will talk about the interest rate of Vietnamese domestic bank in November 2022. On October 24, the State Bank of Vietnam decided to revise up several interest rates by 1%. Accordingly, the refinancing interest rate will be set at 6%, rediscount as 4.5%, and overnight interbanking lending rate at 7%. Deposits of 1 to 6 months at people's credit funds and microfinance organizations will enjoy 6.5%. Meanwhile, the maximum short-term lending interest rate in VND as credit institution for the capital demand for a number of economic sectors increased to 5.5%, and those at people's credit fund and microfinance organization to 6.5%. Worth mentioning, the interest rate market is still hot despite the early days of November. The State Bank of Vietnam continuously bump money out. Until November 9, SBV has pumped money with a total of more than 65,000 billion dong. In the recent 1 month, banks have not stopped participating in the interest rate raise. That was the time when banks high interest rate to more than 10%. According to figure on November 10, 2022, in the domestic bank market, SCB is still the bank that lists the highest interest rate in the market at 9.3%. Now, to better grasp the interest rate of domestic banks, we will come to the interest rate comparison tables between banks with term of 3, 6, 12, and 24 months.
Okay, thanks Tanjan very much. Through the given piece of information, it is clear that bonds and equity are currently a wide choice of investment channels. So the question is, if we're holding 500 million in cash, what would be the optimal choice of investment instrument? Now, we'll be consulting the guidance of Thanh Binh, a specialist in the financial field. Hello Thanh Binh, have we posted the question clearly?
As clear as day. Well, regarding to this matter, as we are already heard, depositing to commercial banks would likely to be the upcoming trend in 2023. So, a bank that I having in mind that I would most likely to suggest is Oricom Bank, or already known as OCB. As you are seeing on the figures, OCB is standing top 2 in terms of interest rate. 8.6% through the counters and 8.8% when registered online. Furthermore, in terms of creditability, in September this year, OCB, along with other 11 commercial banks of Vietnam, was honored by Moody to receive an upgrade in terms of credit rating system from BA3 to BA2. And if that's not enough to ease your concern about the forecasted recession in the following years, here's the step that you can follow. You can split the amount of 500 millions into 5 equal accounts. That means each one would contain 100 million Vietnam dong. And the reason behind this particular number is because that if you split it into 4 or fewer accounts, each one would hold more than 125 million Vietnam dong, and that amount would exceed the insurance for deposit that the Vietnamese government insures to pay to the bank depositors. And as a result, you will not receive the interest bonus. And the splitting won't do anything bad to the interest amount. Everything will add up beautifully as ever. You will still receive an amount about equals to 91.8 million Vietnam dong. And so those are the reasons I truly believe OCB is a true place for you to deposit your money, your saving, as I said, to this current moment.
And that closes the case for any person wondering what to invest in the upcoming periods. To sum that up, a 2-year term deposit in OCB is assumed to be the most optimal investment channel. Our news session has just reached the end. We will meet again about the same time slot next week. We wish you a wonderful and energetic days of work. See you soon.